Okay, this is my first time doing this through a mobile. Can someone I guess say something in the chat or just respond if you can hear me good? Okay, good. All right. Let me go back to sharing.
Hearing you good, Baba.
Good. Okay. All right. Thank you all for joining us on this solstice today. Hold on, let me get back here. All right. So Ikaro, Oishapa, everyone, thank you for joining us on our solstice today. This is the second day of the solstice that's here in the up on our hemisphere. So today's a very it's a very beautiful day, a very sacred day. I feel that a lot of things that happen to us in the diaspora, and I believe all of us, um, are or had ancestors that were affected via the slave trade. And so, believe it or not, is that a lot of us were also dispersed throughout the slave trade before the transatlantic, right? And so a lot of folks, when we have our gravitation or our inclination to our ancestors in Knesset and Kemet, pre-colonial Nubia and Sudan and Egypt, is that that's not just superficial. That's not just, because people feel like we have to belong to something, but that we carry those ancestors literally in our blood. And so we may be compelled to do certain things. We may be compelled towards a Dejed, a Ankh, the Wachet, Nekabet, the many different deities. Some of us may be inclined to trees or, quote unquote Christmas trees or patterns, and we may be inclined to do something, but not necessarily understand why we have the inclination to be gravitated towards those things, because we carry that ancestry with us. So this observation is something that we have done for thousands of years, and we'll keep it short and brief because I want to honor the time and honor the sacred space that I want, that we all should be showing in for this year. And in Kemet, Knesset, we call this the one of the names of the winter solstice was called the Neb Hin. So the most important stars or deities is the Sa and the Sapatet. And actually, those are the two names that are in my family, within myself and my daughter. And these are the most important stars. So during the new year, and it seems like the new year is consistent with the, what is it called? The Odunde, or the new year in Yoruba, and then also with the Inyansa in Akan. A little bit later, I'm sorry, it's a little bit earlier than the Inyansa, but it's still around like that end of the summer, beginning of the fall is when we see the new year. Because of course, in the African state of mind, that the new year can't be in the dead of winter. So December 31st is not our new year. Not, it's we just don't see the world like that. These two stars are very important that happen during this time, the 21st, 22nd, 23rd. So what we got going on here is you see that Sa is what they call Orion. And the his wife or his consort is Sapatet, who they call Sirius. And Dogon, they're very intentional about keeping up the progress of these stars. So what happens on this day is that it is the shortest days of the year. This is when the sun it's reaches absolute lowest. It's the absolute closest it is to the earth, and it is said that the sun dies on these 3 days, and has been overcome by darkness. So all of these astrological occurrences um, was culturally appropriated, as Europeans, white folks always do, and take away the meaning of what actually happens during these occurrences. So now the sun is dead. You got Sa, you got Sapatet. Is that these are the stars that are going to be guiding individuals to the sun. So those three stars that are on that belt point to the star in the east. This is how they took the story of the three wise men that were wandering, that followed the star into the east to Bethlehem to find the birth of Jesus Christ. But of course, Bethlehem is house of bread. That is a star constellation. It's not a physical place. The same thing how Europeans went and took Palestine and with the Sekepetep, the field of reeds, the field of blessings, and they turned it into a Palestine. And this is a place that people are murdering each other for to have, and colonizing to have, not knowing that that place is not on earth, it's in the spirit world. So these people are killing each other for nothing, for a fictional place. So all of these are similes of um, spiritual occurrences. So when you have these three stars, these three kings that are following the star in the east, which is Sapatet, is that they're pointing to the sun. And here, the sun is the closest to the earth during these periods. And so it's the belief that since the sun is here, since the deities that are in the sun are the most present on earth, and they have the most influence, this is the time where this is the time where you want to give your blessings. I'm sorry, this is the time where you can receive your blessings later on in the year. But this is the time where you want to sow good intentions. This is the time to where you want to offer sacrifices and prayers. But also, this is a time to where you want to remove things that no longer serve you any purpose. These are the times where the things that are holding you back are needs to quote unquote die, just as if the son died on the cross. So we see the three kings on the Orion's belt. You see the star in the east, which is Sapatet, and you see that they're pointing to the sun. Here is the southern crux. This is the idea to where that someone had quote unquote died on the cross, and even within that same um, book of literature, it's inconsistent to how they said that quote unquote Jesus died. They said that he would die on the cross, but some folks said that he died on the tree, and this is all or he was tied to the tree, and it's written throughout the Bible. But nonetheless, that's not the important thing that we want to discuss here. So the southern crux, it's a line in the sky, and so during this point is that the sun, it measures the hours of daylight. And so when the sun goes up across the horizon line, it makes an arc. It's across in the sky across the horizon line. And so the highest it goes, it's more hours of light, and the lowest it goes, it's the more hours of darkness. But on the solstice, that sun doesn't go down any further. That sun is at the absolute lowest, it's at the lowest point, and it doesn't move for 3 days. So it's saying that the son had died on the cross, and then it was resurrected 3 days later. During these 3 days, is that the sun is not going to go any higher. The sun is stuck on the cross. The sun is dead. And so when we see that, this is a simile to what happened with Ausar, on how Ausar died due to what happened to Set, and he had to go through the death process and go through resurrection so that we all can live. So literally, when people say Jesus died for your sins so you can have eternal life, they stole that from the story of Asar, saying as Asar was murdered, he purified the death process and he made it so that people can come again. So it's not Jesus that died for you, because a lot of things that doesn't make sense. This is a ritualistic and a realistic idea on cosmology and cosmogony that shows you why this deity is responsible for this process. And of course, we know that we all know by now that Asar is worshipped as Obatala in Isheshe. And so when we have Asar that's going through the death process, that's going through the resurrection process, that idea is still carried over in Isheshe. But you have to take a look and see and look at the symbol and understand how the same cosmology or how the same function goes on in reality. So this story is from E5 that says from Ikayeku, and it goes as follows. Ikayeku opwe nibo hun olorun adifa fosha tion shegban bobo iruma lewai motewa mekowa ko fumi yo orisha egbo motewa ko fumi orisha egbo. This says that it's Ikayeku of Opwe that hears the voices in the spirit world. The divine for Oshala, who was the leader of all the Arumale. I open my palms. This is a mistranslation to receive my character. My Iwa, Oshaigbo, which is the deed of the forest. I open my palm so you can give me my existence. Oshaigbo. So this story, um the most of the story is not lost, but I don't have. But what this essay is illustrating is that it's Osha that's bringing things down and is the leader. And we'll get into the reason why. It's not because of, Obatala is calm, patient, and kind. People would say that because they don't understand cosmology. But they're saying that Obatala is responsible for the descent of things out of the spirit world. So in this story, um, it's telling you when he's pulling things out of Orun Taye, he's bringing things out of the dead state to the material state. Is that there's different realms of reality, and that he governs the process of things to be born and for things to die. Because there's a borderline between reality, and there's someone that sanctions and governs that process of bringing things in and taking things out. There's a realm that Obatala governs, him and Yamu governs, that a lot of people in Isheshe overlook. There's a lot of eschatology that's based in Christianity or Islam, and they don't really understand the ritualistic functions of these deities. So this story is telling you that descent, that transportation from the spirit world to the material world is something that Obatala um, governs. And so the story that is all throughout African culture, specifically with Obatala, it deals with the deity that was making mistakes, and that this person died and they came back and they changed some things and they were resurrected. So with Ausar, we all know the story. Ausar is Obatala, Set is Eshu, and Set wanted to rule in place of Ausar. So what happened was that there was a dinner party, and Set wanted to honor Asar, and told him that, we're going to have this party for you. All of the Sabo will be there, the Sabo or the Ajogun. And so just as in Ifa to where they says Eshu um, has all of the Ajogun as his errand boy. So it's the same story. So they went and had a dinner party, and he told Asar, like, I made this bed for you. You could go ahead and lie down in it. It's a good bed. We made it just for a king. But Asar was drunk and his leadership was compromised. So when he was drunk, he didn't notice that the bed that they made for him was actually a coffin. So they put the lid on the coffin and they wrapped him up, and they cut Asar into 16 pieces. And this is the earliest point to where this deity in white is the basis of the 16-piece divination. Just as in Afun, when Ashun learned 16 cards from Obatala, this is where it started from. Asar was chopped into 16 pieces and scattered all the way throughout the kingdom. So it took his two wives, Nebhet and Aset, to find each of those 16 pieces and put them back together. So it was a piece that was missing from Asar, and Aset was looking all throughout the land, and she noticed that his body was in a foreign land. Inside of the coffin that he was buried in, it's not an acacia tree, and it's not a pine tree, but it's an evergreen tree, and I got to look up the species of it. But an evergreen tree grew out of his coffin. And so they would put ritual sacrifices by the tree to invoke the spirit of Ausar. So this is how Christians made the Christmas tree, or how the Christmas tree got started, was from the body of Ausar that happened during the winter solstice. So a lot of people have a Christmas tree and they have a star, but they can't tell you why they have a tree, and they can't tell you why they have a star, because it has nothing to do with Christianity. It all comes from the story of Asar. And the star that's on top is a star of Sapatet. So this story is telling you that even though Asar made a mistake, he was drinking, his leadership was compromised, and he lost, but he still was able to be resurrected and to come again, and be who he's supposed to be. Same story as Obatala. We already discussed how Obatala was supposed to create the world. He was drunk, his leadership was compromised, and he failed. This story from Ausar is the same thing. So there was Iwa, as we all know, Iwa Kwele or Iwa Rere. Iwa was at one time at a market. So Oshala took all of his money to buy Iwa as a slave. And so he got all of his money and he made Iwa a slave, not like a transatlantic slave, but like a servant or Eru. And Iwa one day had a whole bunch of money, and she used all of her money so she could be free of Oshala. So she said, if I have money, if I can have my own money, then I could be then I can be free. If I can have my own money, then I can have my own freedom. If you can if you can have your own car, if you can have your own money, then you can have your own freedom. And um she took that money and rebelled. And so after she took all of her money, and then after she rebelled, everything that was going on in her life was failing miserably. And she went back in divine to see what the issue was, and the issue was that she's been oppositionally defiant towards Obatala. And it wasn't until she was able to turn back around and to correct her mistakes was when she was able to be successful. So at a point she couldn't see, she couldn't hear, she couldn't move, and it's all due to this defiance. So what these stories are telling you, and especially important around this time, is that there's folks who made grave mistakes, big mistakes, and there's things that they had to die to, and there's things that they had to shave off in order for them to rise again and be who they should be. So this will all goes on during these 3 days, and this is what I recommend that you all do for today. And well, technically we're supposed to do it yesterday, but it's all good. So what we've done is that there's rituals that individuals would do, such as you would the write the matutu of a ajogun, and you would rip it, step on it, burn it, defile it, and um you would move, have those things to be expelled from your life, and then you'll start to plant those new seeds of the things that you're supposed to do, so you can rise back up again. So as we know, since the sun is the closest to the earth, Asar is in the sun, and Akan, they call him Aswusi. We call him, Asar, or Obatala, Dangbi, that they're in the sun at this time. So what is recommended is that since he's here, you would want to give all of your prayers, all of your blessings, the things that you want to happen in the next year, give those up in ritual sacrifice now. So by the time the equinox comes, that all the seeds that you planted, that they're going to grow in full fruition. And it sounds crazy, or it sounds odd, but that is exactly what happened to me. So for years, I've been doing this observance, and almost like clockwork, around the springtime or around the equinox, things are going to start to come back in full bloom, and it can help you, overcome, significant adversity in your life. So this is the purpose of the solstice. This is the purpose of the nin. I recommend that you all find some things that you need to shed off and burn that no longer serves you, and then start to plant those seeds of new things that you want to bring into your life. So, with that being said, any questions? But let me move this so I can see the background. Thank you, Daddy. Hold on, let me get back here. Check to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. So what we're gonna do, we can go ahead and we're gonna break for today. I just wanted to um give a nice word of wisdom and how to really utilize the importance of this ritual. And I don't want to take too much of y'all's time. We're gonna pick back up we're gonna pick back up with our classes momentarily. I'm gonna confer some things with Baba, and we're gonna keep moving smooth into the new year. But please use this ritual, use this time to grow. We're going to use this time to grow and use this time to plant new seeds that we can come forward successful during the next season. So until next time, be blessed, be well, and I will see you all soon. Irio Odabo.